when you first walked through the main gate off Trafford Road, it was just the amount of people. Everybody going somewhere, everybody doing something. From police to customs to dock workers to office staff. It seemed like organised chaos. And of course then you crossed over countless railway lines that went straight across. And there was a huge loop of railway lines that carried from the top of Nine Dock, went all the way in a loop and went all the way around, over the other bridge into Trafford Park. So there were constantly these shunting trains going through all the time, and traffic. Lorries would be queued up. The next gate further up from the main gate was Aubrey Street Gate, and that went down a little cobbled road, and yet literally everything that went to Canada in the Manchester liner went down that little gate, and there would be queues of lorries. Lorries would be kept waiting from, it wasn't unusual, but they'd be there all week, waiting to be, maybe 60, 70, 80 lorries, all waiting to be offloaded. And the guy at the front of the queue was wondering why he wasn't offloaded, because his boss hadn't sent him a 10-bob note to give to the delivery clerk. So the delivery clerk would keep coming out of his little office and going, special order this one round, and the lorry would come from the back. And he would be offloaded. It's urgent, we need this one right away. This is going down in the tween decks for first port of call. So this is, and then the next one would come, and the next one would come, and there were many fights and arguments over that. But it went on. It went on at every docks. Liverpool was notorious for it, but here, it was depending on how, if your boss wanted your lorry back quick enough. I remember in the top end of Nine Dock seeing the famous rows of paint tins, all different colours, big brushes stuck in them, big tins of paint, yellow, green, blue, black, all colours. And this was because the majority of dockers in those days had trouble reading, shall we say. And so of course off would come crates, we're wanting this stuff at the moment from the warehouse. The lorries would be offloaded into the warehouse for next week's ship, and it would be put in sections, this is Montreal, this is Galveston, Houston, Milwaukee. So it'd make it easy. Everybody knew. A lot of people couldn't spell or read Milwaukee, but they knew a yellow splash, and on it went. And somebody's job was to walk around as stuff was unloaded, dab a bit of colour on. And it worked. It was a system that worked, and had worked evidently for many, many years before. Now the rat catcher, unfortunately his name escapes me, which is a tragedy because I liked him. He was a rebel. I liked him. And near Trafford Road Bridge, Swing Bridge at the top, there's a little road off to your left called, that area is called Throssell's Nest, and I think it's Throssell's Nest Way now, and it was the road, cobbled road, that went down into Pomona Docks, and it left a V of land, which the rat catcher, he was okay to use. Now he had cabins on there, and he finished up with a huge allotment, and he had quite a good little going concern going there. And he had kennels for his whippets. He used to have about a dozen whippets, a couple of greyhounds, and of course his guns were up there and everything. And he used to, during the war, well, I think it was the First World War probably, they had built all the concrete barges, which were shrapnel proof, allegedly. And over years of not being used very much, they became infested with mice. So he would do them one at a time, and he would go in, put the cones in of fumigation, light them, and he'd seal them all up. And then he would leave it a week, and then he would clear it, and then he would bring all these mice in a sack. He used to bring them in the dock office, and he had to show them to get paid. And then there was the rats. He used to, between, well, literally where we are now, between 8 Dock and 9 Dock, were hundreds of little huts, and these were all registered dock offices of countless companies, and they were all in a little box, and there was a big railway yard at the back, and at weekends he would take the dogs for a run, keeping the rats down. And the dogs used to love it. It was, you know, almost like, you know, they knew exactly, psh, 3 either side of the huts, and he would rattle a stick on the hut, and out would come the rats. And the dogs would have them, but they were trained not to kill the rats. They brought them to him. He would ring them, because he didn't want the dogs picking up any diseases. So he would ring them in the sack. And they went, I believe they went to Salford University, checking different conditions of the rats, or looking for certain diseases. I'm not sure. I think that Wheels disease springs to mind. Well, yeah.